Bitcoin is currently at 93,000 US dollars. We are in scary territory. The fear and greed index went to 10. It went to 10. Everyone called for a bear market. This is probably the first time the entire herd has called it right. Or have they? If Bitcoin on the weekly does not close above the 50-day moving average, then ladies and gentlemen, we are in a bear market. We have one more week to close above 102,000 US dollars. If Bitcoin doesn't, and I'm being very, very clear with everyone in the room, if the buyers do not step in and close above the weekly 102,000 US dollars, then we have officially a bear market. Now we've got roughly around 5 more days. So on Sunday, if we don't close above here, then there's your answer. We are officially in a bear market. Now the good news is this: we're gonna get a rip your face off rally. If we close underneath the 50-day moving average every time we've done this, ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves a rip your face off rally during a bear market. So we closed 2 weeks consecutively under the 50-day moving average on the weekly, and then we ripped a massive 46%. Confirmed it was a bear market. This was just the bear market rally. Everyone got fooled, thought we're going to see 100K for Bitcoin and beyond in 2021. Likewise, the same thing might happen. Everyone might get extremely bullish just to turn out to be a bear market rally. It is do or die for Bitcoin. My line in the sand is 102,000 US dollars and some change. Now Ethereum in a bear market will see the same thing, just like this. Head underneath the 50-day moving average for the weekly, and then finally bounce. That was a 66% jump. Ethereum could do the same thing, hover underneath the 50-day moving average, and then finally head up higher to around 4,000 US dollars. That, ladies and gentlemen, might just be a bear market rally. Traditional markets are going through a downturn. They're having their very own temper tantrum. We're going to look to the past, and this chart shows something similar. This is SPX divided by the money supply, and I've overlaid the previous time when we had very similar conditions. This was during the .com period. These two look very similar, as you can see, extremely similar. We had a period right over here where we bounced and then headed downwards. We had a period just over here where we bounced right over here. Same thing applies, ladies and gentlemen. A period right over here, we peaked, and then we had our tariff period right over here and we bounced. This was the tariff scare. We bounced. That's why I was very, very bullish during that time. Now we have something similar where we're seeing a downturn. As you can see, we're seeing a downturn right over here, a downturn, but ultimately we made brand new highs during Christmas, and then we had a deeper correction, as you can see, until around March 2026. And then finally, we peaked in July 2026. Will this fractal play out again? Who knows? But history often rhymes. So far, we've seen the last bear capitulate, just like we've seen in the past the last bull to capitulate. Will this be the end? There's a massive, massive fear in the S&P 500. We're about to close underneath the 50-day moving average. Now, the last time we done this was in March, and then we had a massive, massive pullback. The S&P 500 is like, I think it's like almost 5% away from the previous all-time high, and we're at extreme fear. The S&P 500 fear and greed index is at 13. Previously, it was at 14. Last week, it was at 34. A month ago, it was at 28, and a year ago it was at 50. Is this a possible reversal? I think we're going to see all-time new highs by the end of the year. As for Bitcoin, it has to close above the 50-day moving average for the weekly. Once it closes above 102,000 US dollars, then, ladies and gentlemen, we can talk about higher prices. Now the bulls have to step in. I bought more. I certainly bought even more. I'm well aware that we're going to see a rip your face off rally. I want to show you something very interesting. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a bit spooky. Since November, for some strange reason, I don't know why this is the case, we've had systematic bounces of 3% every single time since November. Watch this. We've gone up 2.6%. We've gone up again from here to here, 3%. From here to here, 2.5%. From here to here, 3%. Again, from here to here, 3%. So since November till now, every rally was roughly around 3%, followed by a systematic downturn, each time spanning roughly 5%. 5% here, another 4% here. We have from here to here, 4%. It's just systematic selling from institutions. Right now, we've headed all the way to 89,000 US dollars, and we've gone up roughly 4.96%. If this continues and the buyers don't step in, ladies and gentlemen, our next area of control is going to be at 85,000 US dollars. If you look right over here, this is just thin air. There's nothing here. Right over here, there's absolutely nothing. The area where Bitcoin changed hands the most is over here at 82,000 US dollars. If we or the bulls don't step in, then there you have it. We're heading to 82,000 US dollars. And even the Bitcoin maxis have had enough. This is an account that has 8 million subscribers and is predicting that Bitcoin is heading to 46,000 US dollars. Everyone's getting prepared mentally for the next bear market bottom. If you do want to find the bottom, go to the yearly, and on the yearly, what happens is every time we head back into the yearly order block. So for example, we have 3 years of up, 1 year of down, 3 years of up, 2 years. We didn't even close. The 4 year cycle is definitely broken, guys. Participants front ran it and we're red on the yearly. So normally we have a 3 year pattern followed by in 2026 a downturn. So if you want to find the bottom, what normally happens is we retest the previous yearly order block. The previous resistance was turned into support. The last red wick right over here was at 48,000 US dollars. So that's why most participants are getting ready and prepared and putting in their orders at 48,000 US dollars. However, the market has a vicious way to surprise you. It surprised us here. Q4 was not a bullish year. Matter of fact, this year has been primarily about disproving everything we've been conditioned to expect. Altcoin season never happened. There is a massive misconception about altcoin season. A lot of folks are they're actually claiming that we've had altcoin season. You are smoking crack, my friends. I don't care if your project went up by 1,500% in 2022. I don't care if your stupid ass layer 2 project or layer 5 project or your AI coin went from 10 cents to $20. For example, Dog with Hat started off from a fraction of a penny, then went up a massive 200x or whatnot. Okay, Brent, same thing. Let me give you some better examples of more recent projects. We had Ordinals had a rally for about 2 weeks from the very bottom to the top. That's a 6x. We have another example. Let me show you some more examples of newer projects. Casper. This is a perfect example. This project came out in 2022 and I think he done like 150x or something. So he done a 140x from the very bottom to the top, 160x and some change. Okay, most participants, they bought here and they made a 2x. Okay, and they're still holding, unfortunately, and they're going to be holding the bag forever. That's here nor there. My point is this project went up a massive 150x. Okay, let's have a look at Bitcoin dominance. This is Bitcoin dominance. Yeah, look very closely. This is Bitcoin dominance. It's been going up for almost 4 years, ladies and gentlemen. 4 years. Every altcoin season looks like this. Every single one looks like this. I don't care what kind of dog shit coin you own and it's gone to whatever. Technically, this is altcoin season. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is altcoin season. The closest we've ever seen to altcoin season was right over here. This was the closest in AI Mania. And then the second closest was here. And this was ETH season. But your altcoins haven't gone up. Majority of altcoins, there's like 20 million, 30 million coins. But let's be honest, there were a lot of other coins in the previous cycle that never went up. Okay, this cycle, probably 1,000 coins are going to go up simultaneously at the same time. There might be 20 million, but there'll be like 1,000 coins that go up at the same time. So we haven't seen altcoin season. That's very, very clear. Number two, the ETH catch-up trade. That was a myth. Selling may go away. That was also a myth. October didn't happen. Bullish Q4 didn't happen. Altcoins pump while Bitcoin consolidates. It was the opposite. Alts actually go down while Bitcoin consolidates. Bullish Q1. This one got me the most. Buying all-time high breaks is the easiest trade. It was like a consensus that as soon as a project breaks all-time new highs, it's going to continue to go up higher. Solana, it broke all-time new highs and basically just sold off. Ethereum broke all-time new highs, went to around $5,000 for literally 5 minutes and sold off. The final boss is the full-year cycle. That's the final boss. Either we have a shallow bear market because we never saw euphoria, or we see higher prices to 145k. If participants front ran the full-year cycle, they're most likely going to front run the bear market. This could either be a setup to the bear market, okay, for 2026. This could be a juicy, nice setup. So it's gone down already by 30%. If we head to $48,000, that's going to be around a 60% correction. Now, Ethereum is very, very simple to digest. Ethereum during a bear market actually outperforms Bitcoin. Surprise, surprise. And it underperforms Bitcoin in a bull market. Surprise, surprise. Now, this is the Bitcoin and ETH pair. I honestly believe that Jim Cramer owns this coin. That's why we've had a horrific bull run for Ethereum. Now, the previous cycle, what happened was, if you're new here, Ethereum actually outperformed Bitcoin during a bear market for around 664 days. Bitcoin went down, I think, from very top to bottom around 80%. Ethereum went down around 70%. Okay, so we outperformed Bitcoin during a bear market, and then we underperformed Bitcoin during a bull market, as you can see here. Now, the $1 million question is this: Ethereum during a bull market was over here. Okay, when prices were at elevated prices. Matter of fact, let me show you a fractal and you'll be able to see this clearly. Okay, so Bitcoin was over here. Ethereum and Bitcoin pair was over here. Everyone was calling for higher prices because for an entire year we were outperforming during a bear market, sorry. Everyone was excited. We were talking about the merge. We were talking about the flippening. I was out by then. This could actually continue to go up higher while Ethereum heads into a bear market. So we could head all the way to 0.38. Believe it or not, Bitcoin could have a systematic drawdown to around 60%, while Ethereum could probably go down by 50% during a bear market. It did it last time, it can do it again, ladies and gentlemen. We're currently down on the Bitcoin and ETH pair by roughly around 27%. This right over here is August the 25th. 2025. Right over here is August the 29th, 2020. And we bottomed exactly on the day, the 27th of December, 2020. So we will bottom in December the 27th. Same thing applies. Then we continued to go up higher, make all-time new highs on its ETH and Bitcoin pair. This cycle was predominantly a Bitcoin only cycle. So Ethereum will outperform during a bear market. Matter of fact, there is some arguments to suggest that Bitcoin is actually doing the same thing that it done in 2019. The exact same thing that we did in 2019 was right over here, ladies and gentlemen. This was a Bitcoin led only cycle right over here. Then we continued to move sideways, just hovering around 10K, ignoring the COVID scare. And then finally, we continued to go up high. This was a period of monetary tightening during this period, and then finally we had monetary easing and fiscal easing, and therefore we had a parabolic run. And I have to iterate one more time, if we do not close on the weekly above 102,000 US dollars, then the cycle is over and you look for lower prices. This is actually do or die for Bitcoin. I bought some more, ladies and gentlemen. Ethereum, I bought some more. I was very, very vocal with all of you. I bought some more. As for altcoins, there are massive misconceptions regarding altcoins. I said this so many times. I said November is a good month for altcoins. December, it's not so much. Now, every single month for November has been green, and this time it's been green again, as you can see. Green in November, green again in 2024, green again in 2023, green again in November, green across the board. Green. Okay, that's why I said in the month of November, Bitcoin will underperform altcoins. That's why Bitcoin dominance looks like it's topping out. It looks like it's actually topping out, but it's not. It's not. All right. A lot of folks are celebrating and they're calling for the top of Bitcoin. We haven't filled the wick, ladies and gentlemen. This is not the top. Now, what's going to happen with Bitcoin dominance is going to head up higher. December, we head up higher. We fill this wick. Okay, same thing applied over here. Same thing applied during the last cycle. We have wicks that must be filled, ladies and gentlemen, and they will be filled. We had a wick right over here, ladies and gentlemen, and we eventually filled that wick. Okay, so same thing is going to be applied. We're heading to 63, and the $1 million question is this: Bitcoin dominance is sitting over here and altcoins are sitting below their historical lows. One or the other is going to collapse. Either altcoins are going to drop even further lower, or Bitcoin's going to drop even lower. It is now consensus that altcoins only pump because of QE. I think it's categorically consensus now. Everyone knows the truth. Majority of altcoins only go up because of QE. I think that's consensus now. Everyone knows this now. Yeah, everyone should know this. If you're a newbie, don't look at white papers, don't look at anything, just look at QE. It's just categoric consensus now. You got to be a retard not to believe this, not to know this. You got to be a retard. The only reason majority of altcoins go up is because of QE. Ethereum is not an altcoin. Please don't forget that. Ethereum was never an altcoin. It's similar to the Nasdaq and it's similar to Russell 2000. The Russell 2000 has many companies, many companies. 50% of them aren't even profitable. The Nasdaq, same thing, has many companies. Only a handful of those companies actually move the needle. Ethereum is the same thing, ladies and gentlemen. It has hundreds of companies. Within those companies, only a handful of those companies move the needle. We had ICOs during 2017. Then we had more companies during 2021, 2025, even more companies. And 2028, we're going to have Wall Street. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, every single time it changes. But Ethereum is Ethereum. People are going to build on top of Ethereum. This old stuff that we see here today will not exist in the next 4 years. Wall Street is coming in. They're building stable coins. They're building real assets and real companies on top of Ethereum. But for some strange reason, I don't know who's bought this coin. Most likely Jim Cramer has bought this coin. We've had the worst cycle. It's just moved sideways. Move sideways. God damn. If we don't hold, just to conclude, where are we in the cycle? If Bitcoin doesn't hold for this week on a Sunday close above 102,000 US dollars, then ladies and gentlemen, we're at anxiety. Then finally, denial, panic, capitulation. There's your answer. I bought more. Fuck you, bears. We'll see you on Sunday. Peace.
The horse is prepared for battle, but victory comes from the Lord. So I'm dependent on the Lord.
Is that the message to the team?
Day by day, one play at a time. That's the message.
Weather conditions tonight. We're expecting winds up to 15 miles per hour in a wintry mix. How will that impact your ability to throw the ball?
I am so happy and grateful that the Lord has blessed me to play in some snow, to be in true football weather in Cleveland, Ohio at Huntington Bank Field today to give him the glory. It's a beautiful day.